Welcome everyone back to the channel. What this video is actually going to cover is two separate topics that I was going to do two separate videos on, but decided to combine them into one. So in this video I'm going to talk about how to choose your own components if you're wanting to build a desktop in 2020. I recently built a desktop because I had a nice laptop, but it didn't quite have enough storage, enough power, and I just prefer the desktop setup because you can have a bigger monitor, generally mouse, keyboard. It's just a whole general easier setup than a laptop. With that being said, I'm going to use my own actual system because it's relatively up to date, and the price point was $1,000 or less. Generally I go for price to performance ratio. I don't like spending a lot of money on something that I don't feel is necessary for my needs. So this is a system I'd recommend if you're looking to get into video editing, photo editing, if you just want a little bit more powerful, desktop for your system or for your family that you're wanting for the next 4 or 5 years. So what I have all the components here that I chose, and I will go through on how you can kind of cut costs on different components depending on what you're wanting to choose and what your personal preferences. Some of these items I paid more for than I would recommend, but that's the good thing about building your own desktop is that you get to choose your own stuff and kind of build it to your own needs. So generally I like to start with the case. For the case, I went with the Corsair 280X, and yes, this is a little more expensive case, but I wanted a white case. I kind of like the RGB lightings on them that give it a little bit more effect, a little bit more style than your general case. Fractal makes some really nice regular standard black cases if you just want a really well-built case for $60 or $70. But I went with the Corsair 280X, and that was $150. So if you're wanting something a little cheaper, I would go with Fractal, Corsair, Coolmaster. They all make decent lower cost cases if you look around. Now for the CPU, I went with the Intel i5-9400F, and this is a 6-core processor. The F means that it does not have the graphics built into it, the Intel standard HD graphics. If you're going to have a graphics card, I feel like you don't really need that anyways. And this I picked up for $120. I did get this at Micro Center, which you can get stuff a little cheaper at than Amazon or Newegg. But if I was getting a CPU, that's probably what I would choose. You can go AMD and probably get something a little cheaper, but I found that their CPUs ran a little bit warmer, not as efficient, so I've always went with the Intel route. For the motherboard, I really just went with one of the cheapest ones I could find. And I went with the Asus B350. This is the M-ATX, costs $80 at Micro Center again. And it's a really basic motherboard. I don't overclock, I don't do a whole lot of, I'm not going to hook 60 drives up to it, so I don't need anything overkill. I don't really find that the gaming motherboards give you any performance advantage over just a standard regular base Asus or CPU cooler. Since I'm not going to overclock this at all, or really probably push it. I mean, video editing and photo editing is all the stress I'm going to actually put on the CPU. I actually went with something as cheap as I could get from a reputable brand. I went with the Nokia NHL9i. This is one of their low profile air coolers, and I only paid $40 for it. That's one reason why I got it. I don't need a $150 water cooler for a non-overclocked 6-core processor. It actually keeps the temperatures below 60 degrees, so it's a great price to performance ratio. It's quiet, and Noctua is a really reputable company. It's one of the better air cooler manufacturers out there, so that's what I went with that. So for the RAM, this is another way that I cut a little bit of cost. I went with the Corsair Vengeance 16 gigabytes. And that was $75. I just picked the cheapest 16 gigabyte kit I could get from a reputable brand. Corsair is generally one of the better ones out there when it comes to price to performance. I really wanted the RGB ones that would have matched this case a little bit better, but the price just wasn't worth it to me, so I just went with that. If you wanted to save a little bit more money, you could get an 8 gigabyte kit and probably save $15 or $20, but I just went ahead and sprung for that. It was on sale, and I got that at Micro Center too. Everything was purchased between Micro Center or Amazon. Did get my mouse at Staples, but I'll talk about that in a different video. For the PSU, I went with the Seasonic Focus 650 watt semi-modular gold power supply, and this set me back $80. I've always purchased Seasonic power supplies. I think they produce some of the better, more reliable power supplies out there, so I spent a little extra money on that, mainly because it's something that'll last for 7-10 years, so it's generally not something you ever upgrade. So really I would invest more money in that and get one from Seasonic. Some more Corsairs, higher end ones are good, but generally Seasonic is where I would spend my money if I was getting a PSU. So for the graphics card, I actually got this at a pretty decent price. I went with the EVGA 980 Ti Superclocked Edition, and I actually purchased from their B stock, which is basically their outlet where they have all their graphics cards, power supplies, anything they sell. It's kind of just their refurbished market where they sell stuff, and I picked this up for $200. They're not on there anymore, but they do have some 660 Ti's and some 1080 Ti's and some 1080s. I've bought 3 or 4 graphics cards from there and had good luck, so if you're looking for a graphics card and you want to save some money, that's where I would generally send people. I do a little bit of 4K gaming, but not anything that requires much. So this 980 Ti will last me probably for 5 or 10 years. It works great, it's quiet. EVGA is a great brand, good customer service, at least from my eyes, what I've had to deal with there. So that's what I went with the GPU. Now the storage, there's a ton of options here. Generally I recommend going with some type of SSD, a regular standard one or an NVMe. I picked the Intel 760p and the 256 gigabyte. And this will be my standard boot drive. So it is an NVMe, it's from a reputable company, and it only costs $75, so that's a pretty good deal. I kind of wish I would have went with one with a little bit more gigabytes, but you can always add drives as you go. And for my second storage, I went with the WD 1TB Red. I've had this drive forever. It's your standard spinning disk hard drive, and I believe I paid around $60 for it. I'm not 100% sure because I've had it for 4, 5, 6 years. But it works great. I haven't had any issues with it, so generally I go with Western Digital or Seagate. That's another company to get your hard drives at, but it's where all my mass storage is at. So all your photos and videos, anything that requires a lot of data that you have to store, standard hard drives are just a lot cheaper. I will probably get another SSD down the line, but that's what I have. And for my fans, since I went with the Corsair 280X, I went with the Corsair LL140. These are their standard RGB fans. Comes in a 2-pack, and they were $85. So that was a tough pill to swallow. But if you wanted cheaper fans, you could get their regular fans. You could get Noctua fans. There's all kinds of different options out there. Cooper makes they're another good company, smaller company, but they make good fans. But that's what I went with there. So the total cost for the PC was actually $965. So you could probably shave $200-300 off there if you went with a cheaper case, cheaper fans, little cheaper power supply. You could go with a cheaper graphics card. AMD and NVIDIA both make really good budget $150 graphics card, but I would get one that's a little more future-proof that you could, keep for 3, 4, 5 years. And if you're really into doing a lot of 4K gaming, you're going to need something a little higher end. But I would really check out the EVGA's B stock if you're looking to save some money. So that's it, guys. That's my system, and that is generally what I would recommend for anyone that's just looking for something to do video and photo editing on. I'm going to go through my peripherals here in the next video. So that's something that is, again, personal preference, and everyone has different items that they like and don't like. But that's it, guys. That's a desktop that I'd recommend, and kind of a tour of my system for 2020. If you guys have any questions, comments, criticism, leave them below, and I will get back to you. See you guys next time.